The only way that you make your company better is to make the people in your company better.
We can buy all the beautiful trucks we want and all the beautiful vehicles we want and equipment we want and everything. But what was really causing the stall of our organization was people.
When you say people development, it's developing not only within the trades and making you better at what everyone does, but you're developing people outside of what we do for a living.
Be a people development company. Yes, I know we're in the home services business. Yes, I know we do electrical. I know we do plumbing. I know we do heating and air conditioning. The clarity that I am absolutely convinced that an owner must give to their team members, that a leader, the top manager must give to their team members, is why we exist. Why we exist. And there is a great book, and I'm holding it in my hand right now for those of you that are watching us on YouTube. And it's a book by Patrick Lencioni called The Advantage. And on page 86 of this book, he goes into detail with the importance of giving your team members clarity why we exist. And in the book, he talks about one of the reasons why businesses exist is the owner or the lead, the top executive, loves to serve clients. Another business may exist because they love the industry. There are people that love electrical, love heating and air, and they have a passion for it. And maybe that's why they have a business. There are people in the example he gives in the book that maybe they want to serve the community. Maybe they own a hotel on a beach that they grew up on, and they want to be able to provide this hotel for the community so the community continues to flourish. And there's also a reason that people are in business because they want to serve a greater cause. So he goes through all these examples of why people start businesses and why businesses exist. And the final one he talks about is there are some businesses that are purely out there because they just want to make money. They just want to create wealth. And there's nothing wrong with any of those examples.
Not at all.
The one that he talks about that resonates with me and resonated with why I wanted and why I was so passionate to start this business was wanting to help develop and grow team members. And so that is why that has been the number one passion and the number one drive for us in developing, yes, an incredible training organization, but also just building a great business was our drive that we are going to build a company that's focused on its team members and developing its team members. We want our managers to understand that so that, hey, if you're in a meeting with a team member, you better be treating them properly because that's why we exist. If they're struggling, you got to meet with them because that's what people development is all about. And so one of the things I know and that I've learned through a leadership group that I'm a part of called Rapport Leadership is the only way that you make your company better is to make the people in your company better. And that's right in line, Mike, with what you've talked about. And it's right in line with what I know, Ray, you believe in and what you're passionate about as well. So I'll open it up to either one of you if you guys have anything you want to share with regards to the fact that we have focused and made our focus on our team members and being a people development company.
I like to talk about prior to Mike, you've always had this passion. So yeah, all the books and a lot of other materials have helped you focus more on it and developed it over the years. But I go back 25 years with you. You've always had this dream of having a school, and I think that's all been brought to focus with books and other items. But what I really talk about is something you talked about earlier in developing a school. Why did we want a school? What was the aha moment? And it was really years ago, you and I realizing when you talked about earlier, we were kind of flat and we were sitting around 15, 16, 17 million, trying to get out of that whatever was causing that. And we really sat down and realized that we can buy all the beautiful trucks we want and all the beautiful vehicles we want and equipment we want and everything. But what was really causing the stall of our organization was people. And we had to develop our own people. We couldn't go out and hire people from other companies. It never worked. The culture never fit. They thought they knew everything and they didn't. And so we really realized one day the only way this company was going to grow was people and having a school and getting it going. And that all led to, eventually Roger and then Mike and all that. So I thought that's something that's always been a passion. And here we are today talking to Mike. And I think Mike's got a lot to share.
Well, I love the fact, too, that you're giving accessible education. That's one thing. A lot of people, as they get older, adult learners, unless they pursue it themselves, you just get into the grind of your job and life, and you just keep moving forward. And there's a lot of what ifs. Oh, what if I had an opportunity? I'd do this. I'd do. The motivation has to be there. When you provide what you have to the teammates we work with, that there's accessible learning, trainings, that every day you can learn something to get better at who you are, that falls back on your own prior learning, and there's encouragement, and we're having classes that not only offer skills in what they're currently working on within the company, but you're also providing classes and opportunities that are life learning lessons, how to do banking properly, how to look to get a better loan, how to, courses to offer on how to be a parent to a teenager. Those things have always been green lighted by you, Kevin, or you yourself have helmed different courses that have been asked for and provided by to all your teammates. So it's not only, when you say people development, it's developing not only within the trades and making you better at what everyone does, but you're developing people outside of what we do for a living. And I think that's very key. That's part of a culture that shows caring, investment, trust, the want for better for our teammates to grow, and you're providing that. You're providing that opportunity.
Yeah. And I want you to speak on this, Mike, because Ray and I started this university and with the help of Dan, and we didn't really know what we were doing. We just knew that we were committed to it. And we were sharing information. We would give handouts, do PowerPoints, sharing. And we wondered why team members were leaving, even still. What you taught us, Mike, was that we needed to transition from being a sharing organization to a true learning organization. And Ray mentioned it. I'd love you to speak about this adult learning thing, because It's big. It is big when it comes to people development.
Sure.
So go ahead.
So also too, wanted to start with saying, we always say training. And to me, and the way I presented our learning is we don't really train. Train is you train your dog to do something. They do it when they're supposed to. So I always started a class by saying, yes, we might call this a training experience, but this is a learning experience. And it's easy to be a student. The learning is the hard part. So when you bring everybody to learn, it really is up to them. And that's part of adult learning, is that independence that you have with a goal in mind that's presented to you to achieve. And here's the way to do it. And here's the benchmarks you need to hit and what we expect out of you. And here's the end run, the goal. You can do this. We're here to guide you. So it's a very mutually respectful approach to learning with adults. If you let me go back and kind of explain it. So real quickly, so the study of teaching children is called pedagogy.
Okay.
Greek word for child, PEDI. AGO in Greek means to study, put it together, pedagogy. When we were kids, we didn't know what anything was. Teachers taught us this is a number, this is a symbol. When you put them together, it says a word. Like, we were a blank slate. So we were just told, and you did. And then you learned upon each thing every year as you go through life. Like Ray had said, kindergarten, first grade, second, right? When you become an adult learner, that's called andragogy. And the Greek term for andro, you've heard like android, right? It means man-like. And ago is to study. So really it's like how to study and learn for man. That was the beginning process of it. And it's a totally different concept. So for adults, a couple of things you have to keep in mind when presenting any learning is, one, you have to understand their experience first. You're not going to lecture or tell someone who already has experience in plumbing how to start doing the basics of plumbing. They're going to be insulted that you didn't take into their experience into account. They're not going to really want to pay attention. So the very first thing of adult learning is you have to assess and analyze your students. You have to first and foremost go over all the objectives of what we're going to learn starting now and moving forward, and then discuss them. Discussion and adding your background knowledge, and it has to happen in adult learning. And if not, then learning doesn't happen. Mm-hmm. Also, adults have to be put into situations where they're uncomfortable in order to be comfortable, because that's where learning occurs. And that is a basis of the rapport training, and that we have adopted and merged into our training through our university. And as adults, we're confident in doing what we are comfortable in doing. Mm-hmm. So until I'm pushed out of my zone, I won't do well. I have to be okay to stammer and to pull upon my prior knowledge to prove that I know what I'm doing. And also, adults have to be said, if you don't know, here's what you do need to know, and how can I coach you and mentor you through discussion and support. That's where learning starts the process. There's also like the readiness of learning by doing. Once I teach it to you, I want to see you do it yourself. Do it in your own way, your own personality. Add to the system. You know, what you know is going to add to everyone's learning. I want you to share. So you have to approach it with that type of a mindset. And you have to do a structured process. As Ray said, we call it scaffolding in the education world. You can't teach something that equates to a rung on the ladder and then skip rungs and then throw something in. If pretty soon you can't reach the next rung because you didn't teach the rungs in between the ladder. So people get stuck and they shut down, and why bother learning it? So you have to do a very structured approach. You introduce, you apply, it's hands-on, it's numerous different learning approaches in order for the concept to be taught. There's discussion, and then there's performance. Teach us what we've taught you, and it's a mutual respect in learning. It's a totally different approach than going back to when you were a kid. 2 + 2 is what? Perform. This is a whole different approach towards adult learning.
Can you give me an example?
Yeah.
And an example that keeps coming to my mind of getting somebody out of their comfort zone is where when you introduce a topic, you typically tell them, I'm going to give you 2 or 3 minutes. I'll let you share on that.
Yeah. So all companies have a certain communication process that we want our teammates to have when they're dealing with clients and working with them and talking through. So we want to see how people do when it comes to presenting. We want to see your normal attributes: good eye contact, proper posture, your tone, your diction of your voice, like everything about it. So I will give a topic the first day of class and say you have 1 minute to talk about why the cookies are a great dessert. Ready to go. And they stammer and they're like, what? And we don't let them off the hook. And they'll start making up stuff. And we'll be like, okay, great, sit down. What the hell does that have to do with plumbing or electrical? We're like, all in good time, you'll understand. And we're putting them out of their comfort zone. we want them to be able to freely communicate. So what I'm really assessing on is eye contact, voice projection, all those other things. Then after everyone goes through that uncomfortableness, they don't know what the topic is, for example, then I say, here's the objectives we're going to be focusing on and talking and learning about. How do you make eye contact? How does that affect a client? How does your body posture? How do the way you punch your words and tone? And we'll do this whole study. They will go through all the different aspects of it. And then I'll say, okay, here's a new exercise. What's your favorite topic? They'll give me their favorite topic. You have 2 minutes to talk about that and putting together everything that we've learned. And suddenly they shine. They're remembering all the skills that we went over and taught. They're talking about a subject they love, so you see them come alive. And we'll say, that's what you need, and that's what you're going to apply to any communication style moving forward. So that's a brief example. Mm-hmm. So they're confident that in what they said and did. They proved it to themselves. They were given all the information in front of them to learn. We supported to coach them, and we move forward with that. That's a beginning scaffolding for communication process. And then we move on. So it's that out-of-the-box approach. I trust and value their experience and their ability to go up there. It's okay to make a mistake and learn from it. Nobody's perfect. It's part of the culture of the classroom. And when you build people up like that and you go through that process, people want to do better. They know that they have someone to support them as well. And so that's the beginning basis of adult education, putting people out of their comfort zone.
Yes, I know we're in the home services business. That has been the number one passion and the number one drive for us in developing, yes, an incredible training organization, but also just building a great business was our drive that we are going to build a company that's focused on its team members.